My name is Balonte Nagaza. Welcome to the Boardroom. I'm with Richard Mukheibir, CEO Cash Converters. Sir, good to have you here today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Please tell me about your business, Cash Converters, what it is that you do.
So Cash Converters is an international franchise operation. Effectively, we're based in about 20 countries around the world, 750 stores. My business in South Africa has the franchisor license for Cash Converters in South Africa and Namibia. And effectively what we do is provide our consumers with what we refer to as access to cash. So they can buy and sell second-hand household goods from us, and they can borrow money from us. So at a high level, that's what we do.
You told me that you're also branching to Nigeria.
Yes, we're looking to expand the Cash Converter business effectively across the whole of Africa. So we have set up a partnership with some Nigerian guys, and we hope to be opening there shortly. I have in fact just returned from Mauritius, and we're going to be opening stores in Mauritius in the first quarter of next year. And then within the context of Southern Africa, we operate 4 stores in Namibia as well. 3 of them in Windhoek and 1 in Swakopmund.
Yes, so it's safe to say you are running a successful enterprise.
Well, we'd like to think so. We've been operating in South Africa for 27 years. Cash Converters is a 40-year-old business around the world. It's a listed public company in Sydney in Australia. That's the home base. And we continue to grow every year. We were faced with COVID like everybody else in South Africa and the world. We've come through that much stronger. We've got exciting new products and ideas that we're bringing to the market. We've launched our web shop in South Africa, which has been very successful. And in fact, I've just returned from the Cash Converter International Conference in Paris, in France, to learn from Cash Converter operators around the world what they're doing. And one of the exciting parts of that learning was to talk to the CEO of Cash Converters in Spain, where they're doing almost 1/3 of their turnover digitally through their web shop. We've just started the journey. They've been doing it for longer than we have, but the opportunity is fantastic.
Yes. So I was just asking you behind the scene, just in short, because you told me to take a whole thesis to answer me, but just in short, what does it take to be successful in business? Because that's what we do in this program, to communicate those principles, those methodologies, to make a success of your enterprise, because to make a success of you as an individual, because I read somewhere it says like you run your life like a CEO, so you adapt certain habits and principles and attitudes. So what does it take to succeed in business first and foremost, and to be a successful CEO?
Okay, so I think one of the things that contribute to being successful effectively is the passion that you put into what you're doing. So like with most things in life, you get out what you put in, and it's about dedication and it's about passion in that process. I think as well it's also about, we can't do things individually. Humans are animals that need to, it's a team sport. Humans are a team sport, absolutely. And when you build a business, particularly a business of some scale, you've got to rely on people around you. So I have been really fortunate. I have 2 long-term partners of mine that we run the business together between the 3 of us, and we have built an exco team that are very cohesive and founded fundamentally on a philosophy that says we have a common value set amongst us. So in the Cash Converter business, we look, whether we're talking to our exco people, our head office staff, or our franchisees, we're looking for people with passion, we're looking for people with professionalism, we're looking for integrity, respect, and collaboration. And those values form the foundation of our culture in our business. And then on top of that, we want complementary skills. So I'm here today at Gibbs as the CEO. My colleague that's with me is our group marketing manager. Now, she's a specialist in marketing. She has a complementary skill to what I have. We have common values. And that's basically how we build this exco team. So, as you rightfully say, this is a team sport, and business is a team sport. Whether you're playing for the Springboks or whatever, it's all about what is the common vision and how do we in this team contribute to achieving that vision. And that in a short nutshell is probably what I think would be important.
Awesome. What's one piece of advice that maybe you got that you would like to share with some of our viewers?
Do what you're passionate about. So if we're going to work 40 or 50 years in our life, What you don't want to do is go to work in the morning feeling this is a drag, this is not what I'm all about, this is not playing to my strengths. I think the fundamental thing is play to your strengths. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. I used to work in a large corporate, and in large corporates you do, before I started Cash Converters, you do performance appraisals every 6 months or every 12 months. And what happens generally in those processes is that the manager says, okay, Richard, you're good at this, this, and this, but here are a bunch of things that you're not good at, and let's talk about that to try and make you good at that. The reality is I'm never going to be good at those things. I'm terrible at them. And there's, in fact, a very good book written by an Englishman, a Ghanaian Englishman called Spike. It stands for Strengths Positively Identify, Kickstart, Excellent. And you need to understand what your strengths are, and you need to focus your life on working in an environment where your strengths are, because that'll give you the energy, that'll give you the passion, and that'll give you the drive to succeed. And then when we were talking about complementary skills, you also need to understand your weaknesses. So find people and surround yourself with people that support your weaknesses, and those would be their strengths, and let them get on with helping the delivery of the outcome of the business in that context. So sometimes it's helpful for me to understand business like building a puzzle. You need all the puzzles to make the picture, and then you need them in the right place. And I don't have all the pieces of the puzzle, so I need you to help me in this part of the puzzle, and I need that gentleman over there to help me in this part of the puzzle, and that's how we build a team around us to achieve together the outcome that the business is looking for.
Wow, profound. Any challenges maybe of late that you had to deal with business-wise that really took a lot out of you? And like, you know, when you came out, you were like, yes, you know, you celebrated your victory, or yes, maybe last 5 years or whenever, because you know those periods come in business where, you know, every once and again, yes, you have something unique on your table to deal with.
So business is about dealing with adversity all the time. In fact, what you're trying to do is you sit here today and you say, okay, this is where we are today and we want to be there tomorrow. And you plan a process of getting there, and then you work towards getting there, and sometimes you're close to your plan and sometimes you're far away from your plan, and you've got to continuously adapt that plan to get you to the outcome. And of course, top of mind would be COVID. You know, none of us, we all started 2020 thinking, 2019 was a terrible year. Yay, 2020 is here. And we got to end of February and we were doing fantastically, and it was going to be a great year and it was going to be easy. And then March the 27th arrived in South Africa and we got locked down. So I think that's probably the biggest adversity that we've faced over in my whole business career. And it was about recognizing that there's a new normal, and that you could lie down and accept it and effectively just say, okay, I can do nothing about it, or you could be tenacious and you could say, okay, the new normal is this. We didn't expect to do this, but we need to navigate through this process. And you know, when you're running a business, it's not really about you; it's about everybody around you as well. And Cash Converters in South Africa alone has almost 2,000 employees. So we in our Exco are responsible for ensuring that those franchises stay open, so the 1,500 to 2,000 employees that we have could continue being employed and continue a salary. And so it's about dealing with that adversity. And in fact, sometimes what happens is that or what I find helps me deal with the immediate now issues and all those things, is to cast your mind into the future, a year, 3 years, 5 years, and say, today's problem that we're dealing with is merely today's problem that we're dealing with. We're still looking to get there in 5 years' time. We just need to manage this process now. And so we effectively, we were thrown out the office. We were doing everything digitally, but from an Exco point of view, we were meeting daily for a couple of hours in the morning, every morning, trying to understand what's happening in the country, what's happening with COVID, what's happening with the compliance, the new laws, etc., etc. And then later in the afternoon, we'd do Teams or Zoom calls with all of our franchisees, keeping them informed as to how things were going. So, we're good at adapting as South Africans. We're good at getting things done. And we navigated day by day through that process. And I think as a consequence of having gone through that, as a business, and I think also to some degree as a country, we've become more efficient, We've become more effective in dealing with things. We've adopted the new digital economy. We're in fact an omni-channel business now. And we see ourselves really as a fintech business. Cash Converters is no longer just about buying and selling second-hand household goods. We've got a sophisticated IT backbone that facilitates that and is going to give us great opportunities in the future to service our customers.
Yes. What's your concept here with the how you expanded this business, how you multiplied this business? You know, I guess it's also part of that looking ahead and planning ahead. But please speak more to that.
So the expansion model is really based on a franchising model. So we are a franchisor business at the head office side. We franchisors, and at the retail front end, we're our dealers in second-hand household goods and money lenders. So the franchising model is about taking a proven business model and a recognized brand and duplicating that in as many instances as possible. And that's effectively what we do. So we provide our franchisees with that environment at the front end. We do site selection, lease negotiation, initial training, and all of that infrastructural stuff to get a new store up and established. We'll facilitate with the franchisee and his bank for financing and bank loans and the like. We'll negotiate on their behalf for site selection and lease negotiation with the large landlords. And then it's about initially starting out and training them on how to do the business, and then ongoing support and training. As an example, part of what we did through the COVID exercise was really push our e-learning platform. So now all of our intellectual property that Cash Converters has built up in South Africa for 25 years and worldwide for 40 years is effectively housed in that e-learning platform. And there's no instance that you need an answer to as a franchisee that you can't find the answer in that IP. Our IT is sophisticated. We have our own point of sale system. It's been coded to be compliant with the laws of South Africa, and that helps the franchisee stay compliant there as well. And then, we do regular franchise meetings. It's all about ensuring that the franchisee is successful because their success translates into our success. So as an expansion model, the more successful franchisees I have, the faster I can grow.
Do you consult for investors coming into the country? Because I would imagine your vast knowledge, of this landscape, 25 years doing business here in South Africa. For businesses coming in, what piece of advice would you give them in this landscape?
So I don't consult directly in the context of my role as CEO of Cash Converters, but I have taken a role as a non-executive director on the Franchise Association of South Africa. So you interviewed the chairman of the Franchise Association earlier today. I work with Petunia and the rest of the board over there. And recently, in fact, FASA hosted a Malaysian business delegation into South Africa to familiarize them with the South African opportunity. So that would be one of the examples. I also, in my personal capacity, do quite a bit of mentoring for young entrepreneurs, and I'm also on the board of the Century 21 franchisor as well, that provides some type of guidance and direction there.
Okay, to wrap it up, say, those young people, our population, majority is young people, even Africa is young people. Please speak to those young people starting out in business. Just in short, what are those key factors to look out for, to make a success of your enterprise?
First of all, I'd encourage every young person in the country that's interested in entrepreneurship or getting involved in their own business to do it. So that's the first thing. Don't sit there thinking that I don't know enough or there are too many obstacles in front of me. It's that good old Nike saying, just do it. Yes. Because there are many obstacles. You don't know enough, but you're never going to know enough. So when I started, I didn't know enough either. And it's about bumping your head against problems. It's about learning. It's in fact a continuous learning exercise all the time. Some people might look at me and think I know everything. I don't know everything. I'm continuously learning as I go through, and every time I learn something, I get more experience and I become more effective in terms of what I'm doing. So get out there and just do it. Test drive it. Nobody's going to be as passionate about your business as you are. Many people are going to tell you that it's a silly idea, you're not going to get funding, it's the wrong site, the wind's blowing in the wrong direction. Ignore them all and just do what you want to do. And as you get one success after another, you'll find that it's similar to building a house. It's not going to happen overnight. You're going to put one brick in today, and tomorrow another brick, and you might not even recognize how you're building your skills and how successful you are, because you're right at the coalface of living your life.
Yes.
But somebody who's far away from you, in 2 years' time will come back and say, oh, you've really moved a long distance. So I just say, do it.
Yes. You know, just to add on what Mr. Richard, it's not MacGyver, it's
MacGyver, yes.
MacGyver. Yes, you know, there's that wisdom in action that you will never get in action. So I recently just learned also that lesson. I knew it, but I relearned it just recently, you know, in business, you know. Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Thank you
yes,
for the time.
I learned so
Thank you
much
for the
from you.
opportunity.
Yes.
Cheers,
Thank
cheers.
you.